Welcome back, Saints Nation. Hopefully your heart had the opportunity to calm down a little bit before we just crank it right back up again for game number 2. Getting into the pick and ban phase already. Seeing a couple adjustments already here. The Nunu is gone. The Senna is gone. And we have ourselves an interesting draft, of course. St. Clair taking game number 1 by a thread out of nowhere. A game Randy Orton would be proud of, with how out of nowhere that finish happened. Nonetheless, I'm absolutely choking over myself. Zeddy, how are you doing? And looking forward to game number 2.
Well, I mean, it took me a couple minutes to recover from game number 1. My mind is all over the place. I'm like, it happened, but it shouldn't have happened. But I'm glad that it did. But oh my god, like it's just so many emotions to process. Now, looking at this draft, however, I love this start. We have talked about this start all season. It's not just us that's doing it. Everybody is doing this. This Pantheon B1 pick, that blue side first pick, it is so strong because you can put him in 4 different roles. So currently, St. Clair has a champion that provides absolutely 0 intel, which is just incredible to the enemy team.
Yeah, fair enough. And it's an interesting adjustment. Normally in this situation, I would see the Kaisa get picked up instantly. But yeah, it's going to be picking up the Pantheon. Of course, global pressure. And like you were saying, it kind of masks where he's planning on going as well. And we're going to see the Vayne Lassie picking up something a little bit different for this next game coming up. The late game scaling goddess herself going to be coming into play.
Yeah, this is a really aggressive blind pick here from Lazi to pick the Vayne here without really having any intel on what the enemy team is drafting. Currently, typically you pick Vayne into comps that have a lot of HP, but nothing really on the side of Wichita has a big health pool. Malphite is typically stacking armor. Ivern is stacking AP for shield power. So they have a lot of innate resistance, but not a lot of it is health based. So this Vayne pick is definitely very interesting. I'll have to see how that plays out here in the draft.
And we're seeing all sorts of different things here. Where did this Scion come from? And now, the fact that Ivern's picked is still just boggling my mind. But I did see him get a little bit more additional usage over the last couple weeks or so. From a long time, I just always thought that Ivern was basically a troll pick, but it seems to be a little bit more legit nowadays.
Yeah, Ivern is a very legit pick. In fact, he's quite strong in the metagame. He just has a lot of shielding power, and the ability to just summon Daisy and use him for objective control is really good. He's also a very powerful Moonstaff jungler. If you're familiar with the Moonstaff
Right.
build, popularized by LS, and a lot of teams are running it in basically every single role. Ivern can Moonstaff. So that just gives him all this extra power to kind of add to these sustained fights and really double support onto that hard carry.
Well, then I do like the fact that St. Clair instantly then took the ban onto Seraphine. So no, like, additional Moonstaff on top of your Moonstaff shenanigans. And then the Anivia going to be taken away from Frez, and Galio going to be taken off the board as well. One more ban coming out on the side of St. Clair. Trying to think if there's anything specific that they would want gone. They got rid of the Senna, which was basically the adjustment from last game. Do we take off the board this time by?
It looked like Wichita was considering Lulu, and yes, I think the ban here of the Lulu is smart. It is another support that can go Moonstaff. It's one of the only enchanters that actually has decent synergy with Kaisa in the laning phase. It makes your Malphite strong. It's such an irritating champion to deal with. It makes the laning phase really frustrating, and it makes the mid game team fight incredibly difficult when you have to deal with things like Whimsy, like the Shield, like the Embiggen, just all these abilities that really provide a lot of threat to a diving comp like Pantheon and Sion would like to do.
Swain.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's going support. I'm not saying anything because I don't want to sound like a fool again and get absolutely bamboozled by what's happening here. But I'm pretty positive that's a Swain support. That's a really threatening champion to deal with. And this Rel pick going over to Miansfo, if they decide to lock it in, is going to mean that St. Clair is looking for blood in this 2v2.
This is the first time I'm seeing Mansfield pick this one up, and I'm only just starting to personally even get familiar with Rel as a champion. Of course, is a support, and it apparently has 2 forms, like a mounted and an unmounted form. Do you have any additional details on that?
Yeah, I can break it down for you, no problem. Basically, what you're looking at here is a champion that has the ability to ride a mechanical horse, gets increased movement speed as she's doing it, or dismount from that horse and become this slow, super tank moving juggernaut. She moves very, very slowly when she's unmounted, but she has like super increased resistances. She's very hard to kill in that form. The biggest thing about that mount dismount mechanic is the amount of crowd control that it provides. When you're dismounting, there's a huge AoE knockup, and when you're remounting, there's a single target dash into a knockup. It's just this champion can throw you around, flip you over her head, smack you like crazy, and all the while you're just unable to even play the game if piloted correctly. So really hoping Miansko comes with the pop-off here mechanically on this row. This draft from St. Clair, though, Scion, Pantheon, Silas, that's a tricky one. Scion, Pantheon, Silas, Vayne, Rel here. That's a lot of melee. It's a lot of knockups. It's a lot of swinging hands, but there's not a whole lot of sustained damage in the late. Again, you're kind of resorting to this comp where you really need to snowball and kill the enemy team before they can start taking these elongated team fights, because these team fights are going to be very hard to execute into this Moonstaff draft coming out of Wichita.
And then this Wichita draft is quite interesting to me, at least. It's interesting seeing the Swain support coming out here for Applause. Of course, triple lift on the Kaisa, pretty standard for nowadays. Puffles on the Syndra. I mean, Puffles was doing fantastic on the Azir as well, so he's probably going to pick up right where he left off and do as much absolute damage as possible. We're going to see the Ivern for the first time in a while, personally. I've not seen Ivern in a good state in a long time, so it's cool to see that. And then Malphite, basically the truest of like hard engage kind of tanks. So pretty standard stuff here. But then Cooper on a Scion, this is the first time I'm getting to see that as well. And I'm interested to see how that like flows with the rest of the team composition here. Because Gnar was left on the table again. I know I keep saying Cooper plays Gnar. I just love watching Cooper play Gnar. I'm sorry, but I know the chat does too. The constant nutty Gnars in the chat. But of course, he messages me after the games like, "See, I can play something other than Gnar. I told you," and I know he can. I just like seeing the Gnar, but not going to see it this time. By of course, going to see how this Scion does. I always think he's just way too damn clunky, but people make it work.
Scion, I think, is actually a really impactful champion when piloted correctly. The ultimate is huge if you can find a good angle into a team fight. Actually has a decent laning phase for a tank. Most tanks seem to struggle in the laning phase until they kind of hit their first item or second item. But Scion actually can not only clear waves really well, but actually put a lot of pressure into the enemy laner. There are a lot of really cheesy Scion builds. I doubt Curtis is going to be going for any of those today, but there are actually a lot of really cheesy full lethality Scion builds where you are one-shotting people in lane with just like full damage, and they're decently legit. Like they're really ridiculous to look at, but you can actually see the amount of pressure that champion provides, especially with the ability to use active items and mythics while in that ghost form. So Scion, really strong champ. I really like a lot of the champions on the St. Clair draft. I'm just a little nervous about how they're all going to pilot together, because there's just seems to be a little bit kind of they're all really hard in, right? Rel dives in, Scion dives in, Pantheon dives in, Silas dives in, and all of a sudden you have this Vayne that's sitting there like, where'd all my friends go? Like it's
exactly.
It's a little bit of an awkward fight line if they don't space it out properly and get that jump and that first pick and blow them up. So again, it's another one of those games where they've got to really take that lead early and ball it. However, they've proven me wrong that, you know, just because the comp's supposed to do something doesn't mean it will. So we'll see how this game, you know, it's until the Nexus explodes, Danners, I'm not going to tell you how this game's going to look.
Yeah, the thing is, I always make my predictions, but I always follow it up with, I don't mind being wrong. And I don't mind learning something. I don't mind them making me put my foot in my mouth, because it's just super entertaining that way. At the end of the day, we're having fun on the cast here, and even if our predictions go a little bit haywire, it is A-okay. But nonetheless, we're going to be hopping into the game very shortly. Before we do, want to throw out, of course, a couple thank yous to our sponsors. Of course, St. Clair College, or St. Clair SRC, St. Clair College Alumni Association, PC Outlet, Zelkelman School of Business and IT, and Tim Hortons. Big thank you for making this St. Clair Saints varsity esports team possible, having awesome productions like this, and being able to show you all these matches here live on Twitch. And of course, big thank you to everybody for tuning into the matches, supporting your friends, family members, and classmates, or even just your teams themselves, because of course this isn't strictly collegiate anymore. I keep forgetting about that in regards to Upsurge. Hey, if you're here for Wichita, by all means, if you're here on the Saints stream, I think Wichita is streaming as well, but nonetheless, we're happy to have you here nonetheless. hopping into the game in just a moment. Dude, what do you expect to see in regards to level 1 shenanigans or lack of shenanigans going into this second game?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. There's so much crowd control available for St. Clair, but it's really hard for me to say here because they like this 5-point start. They like to play their early game slow. This is one of those comps where I feel like if they wanted to press the go button, they probably could. Syndra has no crowd control early. Swain's crowd control is really risky. It actually looks like they are going for the level 1 top invade, so I'm actually happy to see this coming out here. But there's not a lot of viable crowd control available to Wichita on their level 1 draft here. But St. Clair, they have, it's the Pantheon stun, it's the Scion Q, it's the Silas E, it's the Rel W. Malphite, it looks like Deku actually caught them out here on this rotation, so they did spot them out as they were going for it. Now, probably on the bottom side looking, you can see Applause going for a deep ward in response to get some vision down. But looks like Deku overstepped. You don't want to get caught out here, sir. And he's actually going to get killed with the flash over the wall. Lloyd going to pick up the first blood. There was managed to get down that ward onto the red buff, so it is very unlikely that they actually go for the red buff steal. Kubra just going to drop that ward and get some intel on the enemy jungler. But you're playing against an Ivern. You need to be careful about these jungle steals. So St. Clair quickly retreating, getting set back up on the bottom side.
Wow, first blood, and it went over to Lassie. It's basically the best kind of start you can ask for here for the St. Clair squad. Getting all of that early gold on to the AD carry, of course. Being able to pick up an additional longsword going into this fight in the bot lane. Going to really make Triple Lift and Applause really suffer if they can do it correctly. But of course, red start compared to the blue start on the side of Wichita. Whereas the Ivern is really interesting, the fact that he technically doesn't have to actually jungle with his passive and whatnot. But both bot laners going to make it there around the same time, it looks like. I was trying to see if anyone was going to rush a level 2 or anything, but not going to be the case.
Actually, Wichita was positioned in the tri-brush looking for a potentially level 1 cheese play, but St. Clair making the smart call to walk the long way back to lane. If they hadn't, it could have been absolutely catastrophic for the lane state, because Swain Kai'Sa is ridiculously strong in the early game, especially a Hail of Blades Kai'Sa, allowing you to proc that passive really, really quickly, far more quickly than you would otherwise be able to. So really well done from St. Clair to respect that Swain level 1 and play the lane out smart.
We kind of see the drawbacks here in regards to the Rel, of course, but I could see just how slow she is. So you engage, jump off the pony and whatnot, and you're in the middle of the team, you missed your marker, and it's like, oh god, now I have to slowly walk all the way back. That's definitely painful. You see the back and forth actually happening here in the mid lane. Frez getting himself a little bit overzealous, but at the same time, Puffles, not much mana in the tank here, so not much aggression. Should be able to come out with, but actually you gotta watch out. Yes, hi, it's me on the Ivern, nice and close. If Frez gets overzealous again, it could cost him his life. Cooper back and forth here with Deku. Stun going to be landing here onto Frez. Yes, hi, it's me. Not going to be able to find the follow-up. We've got ourselves back and forth in multiple directions here. But Frez is going to be able to get under his turret and get to safety just in time.
Yeah, this Silas vs Syndra matchup, it's a matchup I've played actually quite a number of times myself, and it is quite Syndra favored in the early game. But once Silas hits that first item, that kind of assassin power spike where you have all this pressure in the early game, it gets very scary for the Syndra, because he can just one-shot you with his combo. We can actually see on the top side now, however, looks like a dive setup coming up from Active Force. You can see Kubra shoving in the wave. He doesn't have a whole lot of creeps left. There's the TP, but that should be a dead Malphite. Good tanking from Kubra to make sure Active Force doesn't take too much damage. So not only do they get the kill, but they force the teleport out of the Syndra. A huge play for St. Clair here to snowball that early lead.
That's perfect. Frez was low, so he's going to be able to get a back basically for free. Guess how it's me going to make his presence known, but seems rather unthreatening, at least for the moment. Lassie, though, getting a little bit chunked down to about half of his health. Then basically a little bit of a stalemate under the turret. I don't think I can comfortably go for a dive. We'll have to see what Yes Hi, It's Me opts to do here. It seems like he's kind of winding his way back around. Miensfo going to get himself caught, rooted up. Is he going to get taken down? Not going to be the case. We have the teleport coming out. I believe this is either Frez. Yeah, this is Frez in this situation. Just going to be enough pressure to force the flash aside, and then Frez will be able to walk right back to his mid lane and basically not lose anything, so not bad.
Really good TP from Frez there to deny that play before it escalated. Wichita does have a very strong play there, but now again in the top lane, here's Active Force looking for the kill on Malphite. They know that there's no flash available. He's not going to blow the stun yet because he doesn't need to. He's going to pick up that kill. Nice patience and discipline from Kubra to pass that kill onto the Pantheon and help him accelerate his lead. Now in the mid lane, another play, Frez with no flash available is going to get picked off. These Ivern roots combined with the Syndra stuns is just so much lockdown. The flash stun from Nyansko getting really aggressive here. That should be a dead Swain, however. Swain support, he'll kill you fast, but he'll die just as quickly. And now Kai'Sa, no heal available. Should actually be a double kill for Lazi as long as he can avoid that damage. And there's Nyansko cleaning up that kill before Kai'Sa can say anything about it. A beautiful 2v2 now on the bottom side.
Yeah, just being able to do it themselves. Manso just dives in. Lazi follows up nicely, and I don't mind the fact that Manso took that second kill as well, because the nice little play there for would have been triple lift. Went into the bush, would have definitely thrown off the vision for Lazi. Possibly would have ended up trading like maybe 2 for 1, but by Mansfield picking that one up, we have ourselves a 2 for 0, and this bot lane is looking fantastic to start off this second game.
That is a fed Vayne against an early game Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa typically is favored in this matchup early. She has a lot more burst than Vayne, especially with the Halo Blades. But in the late game, it's really, really hard to 1v1 a Vayne. She's one of the best duelists in the game, especially on 3 or 4 items. So the fact that she has this early lead now hasn't translated into too much gold, but you got the Noon Quiver probably sitting on about a couple 500 or so now in the inventory as well. Means that she's going to get Mythic first. It means that she's going to be able to impact team fights first. It means that they're going to have Dragon control because of how much stronger they are. So even St. Clair from blue side getting that first Dragon. Very well done.
Oh man, so I was thinking about maybe getting a little bit cheeky, seeing if Plaza and Triple Lift want to try and contest. That's not going to be the case for St. Clair. Going to pick up that Mountain Drake nice and clean. No contest out of Yes Hides Me or the rest of the Wichita Wolves. But Active Force making his presence known. Can they get the Condemn onto the wall? I think they're going to be able to successfully do so. Lassie going to clean that up for free. Nice gank from Active Force. Manso following up, and Saints again just constantly tearing through this bot lane.
And not just this bot lane, on the top side of the map too, we need to kind of give a shout out to Kubra here. Now built himself up a 15 CS lead. Really, there were 2 ganks up in the top lane, but they weren't particularly overforced. It was kind of just Active Force, you know, just on his way about the world, sliding through top lane as Malphite was overextended. Otherwise, this lead built up from the Scion has been pretty much solo done. You can see him, the read there from the Ivern, knowing that the jungler and the mid laner were rotating up, playing very safe on this wave, not going to overextend. So really just all-around strong performances from everybody on this squad.
Well, once again, we have ourselves a strong early game, but how does this translate moving forward? Granted, their composition isn't as mid-game or early game reliant as the last game, so the fact that they've got as much of a lead as they do right now is a nice sign for the Saints fans, to say the least. Kubra, once again, face first into Deku, nearly going to take him out by himself, but just enough to really make him scared back under the turret and forced to run away. No TP either. He's going to have to walk all the way back, and that wave is going to crash right into the turret. He's going to get further and further behind in this lane. Nicely done there from Kubra.
We can now see, looking at a quick item check here from that early game lead, we can actually already see not just the Noon Quiver, but the boots completed now. The tier 2 boots completed for Lazi means that the amount of attack speed that this Vayne has is just ridiculous in fights. And the more faster she can attack, the better. A little bit of a skirmish here up in the top side now.
It's a bait.
Yes, hi, it's me coming in, but there is the bait there. Miansfu and Active Force on the back looking for the flank here. There's the dive onto Ivern. Can they kill him in time? And yes, Kubra escapes with his life. Now only 1 kill on the side of Wichita, 7 for St. Clair Saints.
Absolutely brutal. Deku was looking to find himself a kill here too. Was really trying to hunt down Kubra, but not going to find it. So just everything going Saints favored as of right now. Perez in the mid lane might have to be a little bit careful, though. He's going to get aggressive, extremely aggressive, actually, onto Puffles, but he does have the backup of Active Force. Stun right on target. Perez going to find himself his first kill of this game. And everybody, every position is jump-started on the side of the Saints squad.
Yeah, Saints are kind of mechanically flexing a little bit. Oh, that's unlucky. Sorry, Applause. That's not where you want to be, sir. Gets the flank from the Vayne on his way back to lane. The Blast Cone and the Flash is not enough to save his life. It's just looking absolutely dominant for St. Clair right now. Just a beautiful start to this game.
And it isn't stopping either. Triple lift is about to drop, and it's going to go over to Lassie. So that's going to be Lassie's 4th kill of this game. Both him and Active Force sitting on 4 eliminations. Absolutely brutal play coming out here from St. Clair. 10-1. They're going to be able to steal this blue buff over as well. So just completely taking control of every position, every part of this map is just absolutely terrifying for the Wichita Wolves to even try and traverse. And it's awesome to see if you're here for the Saints, but of course I can only imagine on the side of the Wichita Wolves, they got to be shaking their heads a little bit.
It don't stop coming, and it don't stop coming, Danners. We know
Wise
these words. They are wise words, exactly, to describe how this game is coming and playing out. It is just non-stop, relentless pressure from this Pantheon pick. It is why it is one of the most oppressive picks in competitive play, and collegiate and amateur play, and solo queue. It is such a dominant pressure because you can put it in 4 lanes and it does the same thing in all of them. It makes you cry. It's just such a strong pick. And we can see how it's already impacted all of these lanes to kind of play out the way that they are. Frez, who was so far behind in the mid lane, now tied up in farm and has a kill to his name as well. So actually a little bit of a gold lead here in the middle lane now for the Silas in this matchup that he's supposed to lose. You know, with the Merc threats completed, Syndra's not going to be able to do that damage to him the way that he likes to. You can see Manspo now on the top side helping secure that Rift Herald as Lazi 1v2s in the bottom lane. Like, everybody is having the time of their life here.
This is the kind of game that you dream about after, like, just thinking about League of Legends, like, oh, this could be the exciting stuff. But anyway, hang on a second. He don't stop coming. He hits the ult and he hits the ground running. Deku is about to be appropriately named, because no matter how heroic he tries to be, he's going to lay broken on the side of the fight, down for his 4th death in this game, having a terrible time.
Anime reference, Standard?
Yes, it was.
I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed that you wove that in there without really not too much forethought. I gotta think, how long were you holding on to that?
I've been thinking about it for a while.
I was, you know what? I'm really happy it happened, because I was thinking as soon as I saw the Scion versus Malphite matchup, there's got to be one moment, at least one moment, where you get those double ultis. But now Huwazi getting flashed on, but tumbling out, actually going for the turnaround kill here. He's going to get pulled away from Applause. He's not going to be able to find it, but that's 1, 2, 3 ultimates being committed for Lazi just to pick up that reverse kill. It's a good play for Wichita, but they had to expend so many resources on that. They were sitting in that bush for so long too. So now not only is Ivan falling behind in gold, but they had to expend everything they had on that play. They are going to be able to get the second dragon out of it. Potentially. It actually looks like they're not going for it. They're moving now into the middle lane. They want to keep this fight going. It's just such a really depressing call, kind of, to get that kill, but know that it really puts you farther behind.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there for at least Lazi. He finally does go down, but I mean, I don't care how good you are. If you're stuck in the middle of 4 or 5 players all blowing every resource on you, okay, you take that L and then watch your team do the rest of the work here, as we see Frez just able to quickly combo down Puffles to less than 8 or half HP, and it is extremely rough to the point where they can't get anywhere near any Saints, it feels like, unless they're a group, and even then, if it's a grouped fight, I don't know what the main win condition would be. There's no big play that they could really make. Yes, you can get yourself a nice Malphite ulti to stun people, but can you DPS the team down in time? Absolutely not, I don't think, in this spot. Unless ActiveForce gets himself caught, but gonna hang on just for a moment. That tower is not gonna be long for this world. Lazi gonna finish this off right here, right now. And again, just Wichita just chasing their tails at this point.
The win condition for Wichita is one word, and it's one word only. It's Moonstaff, baby. That's all. The only thing that's going to bring you back into this game is a Moonstaff Ivern and a poorly executed fight from St. Clair. The only way you're going to be able to find any ground back in this game. You need that sustained healing to get these fights to the point where you don't just get absolutely obliterated by all this CC and burst on the side of St. Clair. Like I said, this draft, it has so much lockdown. You've got stun upon stun upon stun upon stun, but the damage, it takes a little while to actually show up. So in the early game, when you have no healing, no shielding, and low base health, this comp is incredibly volatile. But as soon as you start picking up some defensive items, you can actually sustain yourself a little bit to the point where you can fight back against some of the threats in the St. Clair draft. So until that Moonstaff comes online, Wichita is just food for St. Clair to chow down on.
Absolutely. Like, 14 minutes in, over 5,000 gold in the lead right now for St. Clair, and that gold is on some fearsome members. So they definitely have their work cut out for them. But I'm still trying to hold my tongue a little bit, considering what we just saw in the last game. But last game was still, I feel like, closer than this, even though it felt like the Saints were starting to lose a grasp of it at least a little bit. But now it's going to be up to the Wichita Wolves to make the miracle comeback of sorts, as Deku once again going to be chunked down to half. He's supposed to be the tank of this squad, and Frez makes it look easy. That being said, though, battle down in the bot lane. Miansfo trying to keep everybody in check, but Triple Lift actually getting the kill onto Lazzy could be the turnaround they need to at least get some gold in their pocket. Miansfo not in a spot to really commit either way. Double kill going over to Triple Lift. Kaisa maybe getting a jump start back into this game.
That was an unfortunate start to that fight. The biggest thing playing against Swain is if you get hit with the E, you really have to deal with a lot. Oh, now Frez in the top lane looking to make it outplayed, but gets outplayed first. Thought he could get the E knockup into the ult knockup, but Deku with the smart read, the second those Silas chains came out, drops the ultimate, gets the unstoppable, pops the knockup under tower, and there's the burst now. Frez going down. A couple over ambitious plays from St. Clair is what really going to make this game. Now, as we said, this game was completely St. Clair's to lose, and it looks like right now they haven't decided what they want to do with it yet.
Yeah, that was just greed in the absolute, like, purest of form here out of Frez, but unfortunately he's going to go back in his second death of the game, and finally giving Deku the opportunity to be on the right side of, or the proper side of the kill feed. So we do see applause and Triple Lift maybe thinking about doing something down here to Kubra, but actually, never mind. Miansfo and Lazzy nice and close as well. Yes, High as Me is right on the other side. We could have ourselves a skirmish for this bot lane turret. There's no really other objectives on site until the Rift Herald comes back in about a couple moments. And I think it's going to be at least, yeah, there we go, at least a minute or so to get that Infernal Drake back up here. So, back to farming and just waiting until the objectives arrive, it looks like.
I like this rotation from Frez down at the bot side. He had the Malphite ult available and wanted to set up a play for it. He does throw it out there and it goes wide, unfortunately. But good map read, like after messing up that play in the top side, keeping that Malphite ultimate and walking straight down bot lane where the action is, trying to get as much value as you can out of that ability. Unfortunately, whiffing it, not going to get you too much.
Yeah, now with that tower gun, Saints are basically just shoving this bot lane all the way back down to their tier 2. They can't go extend the farm without worrying about their life. Deku even being so far up in the mid lane I feel like is risky at this point, considering the Saints could probably just jump on him at any point and take him down, as we see them kind of hiding in a bush, waiting to see what kind of options that the Wolves are going to end up taking. Dragon going to be right around the corner now too, so they're going to be setting up for that. See if they can get their third one of the game. And actually, I think we do have the ult coming out here from Kubra, charging on in. Deku going to be the first one to get slammed once again. Not long for this world. Lazzy cleans him up. And Daisy's going to just be a walking paperweight at this point. Absolutely nothing that they can do. Feeding over the triple kill over to Lazzy. Can they find themselves another? Not quite. Actiforce actually finds Triple Lift down here. And that's going to go actually over to Triple Lift. The shutdown gold going into his pocket. So a nice little play there for Triple Lift to keep himself in the game. But he's going to walk right into Frez. Blast Cone sends him aside. Actually, he might be A-okay to move forward here. Frez, you can tell he's seeing red. He wants to move forward, but he's going to opt to just clear out some vision while the rest of the team goes for this dragon, which just melts away.
That fight was so expertly played by Miansfo. You actually saw Actiforce going in for the flash W, and Puffles, I'm not going to lie, he always starts off this game slow, but mechanically he's quite strong. He snapped the Scatter the Weak with no ball set up, no Dark Sphere available, so there was no stun, but he used it to push the Pantheon stun from connecting. So the Pantheon stun actually never landed. What set up that fight so perfectly was Miansfo's flash ultimate to pull back both Ivern and Syndra and spoon feed the triple kill into Lazzy. It was a really well-executed play by Miansfo, so great job there from the Rel to get that fight going. But now, let's take a look at the game state here. We've got Vayne on 2 items at 19 minutes, so pretty far ahead of the target, and 3 dragons on an Infernal Soul map. Danners, if we get an Infernal Soul, there is absolutely no issue with this game. You know what? I can say it. After last game, I was scared. I didn't want to make any more, final statements about how a game was going to end or what was going to happen or whatever. But this is a prediction I can hold myself to, is that if St. Clair gets an Infernal Soul, this game is over. That is just so much damage going to come out from this team. It really resolves all the problems that they have with finding that burst damage on those initial kills. That one-shot hit on Infernal Soul where you get that extra burst pop on your first attack within a few seconds. It's going to make every initiation feel so good.
Absolutely, and we do see it's going to be X-Force charging on in. The Swain is not going to be effective in the slightest. Applause goes down. Deku does make an appearance, but it is going to be only really taking down Frez. Might be able to turn this around, but Lassie just doing so much damage in the background, able to just get stupid aggressive. But actually, in the meantime, though, double kill going over, triple kill going over to Puffles. The aggression maybe getting to the head of St. Clair, because slowly but surely, some of the right players are starting to find themselves some kills. And granted, Saints have taken a lot of objectives, and like you were saying, if that soul does become available, that is going to be a huge boon for the Saints as well. But it's not being done cleanly, to say the least, here for Saints.
What can you say, Danners? It doesn't matter how free a win is. The Saints special is just too delicious. You gotta go for those dives. You just have to. There's nothing you can do about it, Danners. It doesn't matter if the game is just a wash. You got to make a tower dive, and just Active Force really wanted to press that R button and go crazy. And unfortunately for St. Clair, plays like that is what makes the game a little bit harder to win, because now, even though you picked up 2 kills, you got those kills on Malphite and Swain. Those are the enemy 2 teams' lowest farm priority champions, and in return, you've given their Syndra 3. That is just a rough trade to make.
Yeah. Everything in regards to gold, momentum, it's exactly what Puffles was kind of looking for. You were saying it too. Puffles has in the past been a little bit slow to kind of get started. But then the later this game goes on, like his mechanical ability seems to kind of make up for it once he finally starts getting some items. And of course, giving a Syndra items means that Lazi has to be extremely careful, because he might be fed, but he'll just get popped anyway if Puffles finds the right combo onto him. If the right setup happens, it does not matter. We've seen in the last game, it just takes one team fight. The Senna was super fed, but it did not matter, and getting caught out like this might be troublesome as well. Triple lift, gonna find kill number 4 after Frez gets a little bit overzealous for Vision, maybe? And then it's going to actually continue on. Deku leads the charge onto Lazzy. Lazzy's not going to be able to get anything done. Puffles finds him, takes him down, and this is a little bit troublesome. Yes, hi, it's me going to find the 3rd kill in this extended engage. I hope that ward was worth it, Active Force, because he's going to be the next one to go down. And I guess we just like to make things interesting here on the Saints squad, because I don't know. I keep referencing the gift wraps and deli birds and presents. Well, that was just a present right there.
I'm literally crying right now. I don't even want to, like, I'm not trying to interrupt you or cut you off. It's just compulsive. Oh my gosh. We're dying for 30 gold, Danners. That's what we're doing.
Hey, at least we got the vision.
We're upcharging for like tenfold right now. We're trading 30 for 300 plus a Baron. It's just the investments are paying off in full. Oh my God, Frez, where are we going, buddy? This actually looking pretty decent now that he's got Mansco in the back, but just too much damage from Triple Lift now. She's too fed. You shouldn't have fed her that kill earlier. That's what happens. And now we're just getting popped, and it's like, look at that gold lead. It was almost 8K, and now it's not even 2K.
Yeah, this is basically deja vu, but flipped roles here. Compared to game number 1. The dragon is here. This would be the 4th dragon for St. Clair if they could actually manage to get in position. Active Force is here. They do have some vision on it. Knows it's not started until just this moment. If he could somehow make the steal on this dragon, it might be solid, but we do see Kubra going to be charging in maybe a tiny bit early. That dragon is still about halfway there. Frez has returned, and they're going to try and fight this. It's going to be Active Force in the middle. He is the smiter, of course, in this team fight. He's been off a couple times, and it's not going to go in his favor this time either. Dragon over to the Wolves, and the team fight goes over to the Wolves. Lazzy just keeps getting popped nowadays, it seems like. It's only going to be Kubra and Miensfo left here, and they're just basically the tank line. Frez also running from the side as well. Did not quite see him alive still. Daisy does find Kubra, and there we go. Not quite the paperweight I called her out to be, and it's going to be another kill going over to the Wolves. And now it's dead even.
Like, can I just make exasperated noises instead of commentating? Like, I feel like that communicates myself. Like, I don't know how else to communicate how I feel right now about this game. It was looking so good until it wasn't. It was literally like, What were you saying after the game? It's the Dignitas move.
It's the Dignitas. You were winning up until you lost.
My gosh, it's just like. So here, for St. Clair, of course, again, we kind of put ourselves into this position where you had this big lead, and all of a sudden, you don't. So getting back into this game is going to take some really calculated moves from this team to set up a pick and play off it and snowball that into a team fight, just like we saw in game number 1. However, the reason that happened in game number 1 is because Wichita messed up. Now, if we can't guarantee on Wichita messing up, this game has got a heck of a lot harder for St. Clair.
Absolutely. The right targets that need the gold are absolutely threatening now. We have the Syndra or Puffles ready to blow probably anybody up except maybe some of the main tanks. Probably can't blow up Kubro. Could probably take care of most of the rest of the squad here. Maybe not Mansfo either, but still, it can do a ton of damage. Lassie has to be so careful now in this fight. They took the lead, they got excited, and now it could be painful. Frez actually going down to a quarter after almost getting taken down by the combo of Deku and Triple Lift. It looks like Deku's having himself a bit of a redemption arc in this one. Finally had the opportunity to get some assists and kills under his belt, and now he's the tank that his team needs. You can see turret's not doing anything to him. All shielded up, good to go. And it could also be the help of some of this additional shielding here from, yes, hi, it's me on that Ivern. But now, sure enough, pushing it down mid, Saints can't really do anything. Kubra going to be up in the top lane to at least try to trade a turret for turret, but this thing's full health, and he doesn't have that big of a minion wave to work with. It might be just maybe getting a little bit of damage and moving forward, but that's still not the kind of trade you want.
What can I say, Daniels? It's a Moonstaff difference. This item combination is just so strong, and this Ivern is going to start making these fights almost feel impossible for St. Clair now. Before, the fights were just clean. You know, you jump on someone and you press all your buttons and they die before they can even say hello. And now, you've got this Ivern with these shields that are not only going to be shielding you for a ridiculous amount, but they're going to be providing some passive regeneration over the course of a fight as well. So the longer these fights go, the happier Wichita Wolves are. And unfortunately for St. Clair, as long as this game continues to carry on and the enemy team is buying resistances, they're not going to be able to find that one-shot damage that they were finding in the early game. The game is just hard now.
Well, we came here into the amateur scene for a reason, and it is for a challenge. And sure enough, that's what the Wichita Wolves are going to give us. They did not just lay down and die in the corner. They've grouped up, recuperated themselves. Now we're tied up on gold. We're tied up on eliminations. They've got themselves their first dragon, holding out this soul point possibly here for St. Clair. And they're doing a solid job, and looking even at the jungle. Lots of wards, lots of vision into the Saints' red side too, so they can't even traverse that very safely either. Gotta watch out because Deku could show up out of nowhere just like that. Frez, again, might as well be the tank for this squad because he's always the first one getting caught out in these fights, as it's going to be another one just spoon-fed over the triple lift. It's going to keep on going, actually, though. Daisy popped here, and it's going to be Miesfo nearly getting himself popped. Daisy leading the charge, knocking everybody up, and Triple Lift going to take down Miesfo in the end. Lassie extremely late to this fight, but it is now going to be him popping the ulti, going one-on-one with Triple Lift. The ult from Kubra missed. Triple Lift is going to be able to get that shot he needed to take him down. Kubra going to be the last one alive. Actually, no, never mind. We do have... Okay, that is the ghost there from Kubra, and then Active Force is trying to back in a bush at this moment, it looks like, and goes up to the mid lane. So this is a little bit brutal. Granted, at least Kubra was able to get Deku, but that's great. You got the tank. Baron's up. They still have 4. And Active Force was pushing that lane a little bit too long, it appears, and he's going to be going down for free. Puffles again, getting himself his 7th kill. And we're watching this game just slip away. Baron now on the table. Doesn't matter that yes, hi, it's me is low. They're thinking about it.
Oh my gosh. It was just really sad because you saw Frez walk up and get caught out by that ward. I mean, you have to kind of know that they have vision in your jungle, but he gets caught out there and it's like, well, that sucks, but whatever. And then 2 seconds later, Miensfo does the same thing on the bottom side. Like, we know they're there, bro. You know? And it's just, it's plays like that that make the game really stressful because you can't find those picks anymore. You can't find those picks if you're the one getting picked off, right? So you just have to kind of play it at your own pace a little bit and realize and respect that now, once upon a time, we were stronger than them. That is no longer the case. In fact, we had an 8K gold lead. Now they have a 1K gold lead on us. Like that was a 9K gold flip. This gold graph is going to be absolutely ridiculous to look at when this game is over.
Absolutely. Remind me to take a look at that after the fact, because yeah, that will be quite the feat nonetheless. But with Baron,
the fall from grace
is
what it is. The fall from grace to define this series. Right now, looking like they're going to get a little bit aggressive here on the blue buff now, but Wichita decided they don't want to take this fight. They'd rather bait out the fight on the Baron. They actually saw Triple Lip clean up the Inferno Dragon by herself. This is really good for Wichita for two reasons. Not only does it deny Dragon Soul, which is huge, but you're also getting the passive buff of the Infernal Soul now onto your team, which also helps complement their team's problems, because while their team has a lot of consistent damage, they lack burst. Whereas on St. Clair, you kind of have the opposite, where you have these combos and you want them to be really effective, but your consistent damage kind of falls off. You have the opposite here. Now, going under the enemy tier 3 tower Kubra with the Scion ulti, not going to connect Deku, ulting his way out. They're actually going to manage to take an inhibitor here. Good punish from St. Clair to punish that wide open defense left from Wichita. As they set up for Baron, they left their bot side completely exposed. Good quick take from St. Clair.
That's a really cute move and super effective as long as they could all finally get out of dodge and nobody gets greedy like trying to kill a ward or something. Or a Gromp possibly, but okay, they're going to at least buddy system their way out of this. And yeah, with that, Super Minion's now going to be pressuring that bot side. Taking this Baron is going to be a little bit more stressful, but that being said, the Wolves are making a beeline towards it. Saints must know that this is going down. Can they take this Baron down very quickly, however? It does look like they're kind of burning it pretty quickly. Saints are not going to be able to make it there in time. They don't have any sort of ultimate to challenge that. And sure enough, it's going to be the case. Oh, Active Force a little bit late to the party, but this may be the engage that they're kind of looking for. Swain's going to be the first to fall, but at the same time, Triple Lift has been let to go free. Puffles is in the background as well, doing as much DPS as possible. Mienspo is going to help Kubra in the pit as well, and actually, they do get the shutdown on the Triple Lift. This could be the fight they were looking for. Actually, a TP coming out here from Kubra to try and push these Super Minions all the way onto the Nexus turret. We could have ourselves quite the climax here to this match if they can actually manage to get to the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, that fight went really well for Lazi, and I think the biggest thing in that fight was that in previous fights, Bane was getting collapsed on. Actually, the Hourglass getting popped here from Puffles means he's not going to be able to get out of this alive.
There he goes.
That's another kill for Lazi. Can they end this game in time? 5 seconds on Swain, 13 seconds on Malphite. I think they're going to be able to do it, Danners. And this is just... I hate this, Danners. I hate this so much. St. Clair now gonna pick up the win here, taking down this tower now. There's just Swain left. The Malphite does have his ultimate available, but Lazi is still going.
Nope, he's down.
Kubra can smack away. It's Scion and Rel, and even after the Scion dies, he can keep hitting the Nexus. I think St. Clair has it. They're gonna have to launch on the Scion, but there it is. 2-0 for St. Clair against Wichita Wolves.
Oh my goodness, what a game we have indeed. Your face says it all. Just absolutely stressful game in that one. Guess, like, we had such a good lead. And I don't know, like, I love to say that your league squad just loves to put on the greatest show for us here on the stream. But they're making things really stressful. Like, oh my goodness, I loved that last little fight there. I was worried when Active Force dove into the Baron pit that he would just got focused down, died, and that would have then been possibly like the 4v5 fight against them. But if anything, it actually kind of started off a good engage. The DPS players, or the carries in this case, on the Wichita side, were both kind of collapsed on. Triple Lift was only able to get 2 kills in that one, and then Puffles was kind of zoned out, and if anything, Lazi just basically dived him. Got him nice and quick, and at least forced him out of the fight. Not sure if killed him off just yet, because he was eventually in the Nexus where that last Hourglass play happened, but nonetheless, again, one fight swung it away, or a couple fights rather, swung it away from the Saints. It just took one fight to get them right back into it, and sure enough, that extra little play they made prior to that Baron, where they just kind of dove bombed that bot turret and inhibitor, was the opening they needed to get a decent fight and just push it all the way through, and props to your squad for pulling that one off.
You know what it is, Dan? I think my players are just excellent storytellers. They just really wanted to give us a hero's journey. Mm-hmm. You know, you have this beautiful start, this noble team, this 8-1 dominant start, and then there's this huge drop. It's the sudden depressiveness of the moment, and then there's the climb back, and just like the furiously clawing back to get to that victory spot. It's just such it's an odyssey, really, is what they're writing for us, and we love to see it. You know, it's entertainment at its finest. Obviously, very proud of my team for picking up 2 wins here tonight. I'd love to see these games get a little cleaner, though. I truly believe that with the way these games are starting, these could be 17-minute wins farther down the season, and it's getting to that point. And this is why we do this, right? This is why we sign up for these leagues, to get that practice and get to that place.
Absolutely, and it definitely looked like it was on that pace early on, but of course, like we were talking about, got kind of a little bit shooken up. But of course, there's always room for improvement if you think your team is perfect, then you get complacent. So it's also always perfect that you have the right mindset to keep on improving going forward into the next matches. Which, speaking of the next matches, going to very quickly take a look at what we have coming up next here on the Saints Gaming CA Twitch channel. Of course, join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock for a doubleheader of CCL Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War action. Then if you're here for League of Legends, of course, you'll see Shoddy and the rest of the squad once again here as we take on the University of Waterloo in additional collegiate action. And Saturday, 3 p.m., we're back with some CLOL for week number 3, I believe, there. And of course, doubleheader Saturday means we also have Rainbow Six Siege, 7 o'clock. The R6 Collegiate Championships continue. I think it's going to be week 5 for that league. And then we have some Counter-Strike at 5 p.m. on Sunday. And then the craziness ensues, where we have one game every single day of the week. And I'm nervous but excited at the same time. So we better make sure that you follow the channel to make sure that you're all caught up and notified when we go live, because there's going to be tons of action here on the channel.
We love to see it. You know, that's kind of the biggest thing about this is, you know, coaching and casting and playing and stuff. It's just great to see things happening at the college. It's great to see that kind of gameplay, obviously, from your players, and it's great to see everybody getting engaged and involved. So thank you so much to everybody in the Twitch chat for supporting us in tonight's games. We really appreciate your support. And I know my team is very grateful to have such loyal fans, because, you know, that's why they like writing these beautiful stories for you. If they didn't have you, they wouldn't have anybody to run it down for. So thank you so much.
To run it down for, I like it. But of course, one more time, of course, big thank you, of course, to the sponsors that make this all possible. St. Clair College, Tim Hortons, the St. Clair SRC, Zuckelman School of Business and Information, Zuckelman School of Business and Information Technology, PC Outlet, and the St. Clair Alumni Association. Of course, big thank you. And of course, like Shoddy said before, big thank you to everybody tuning in and supporting your friends, family members, classmates, or just your local team. Big thank you for hopping into the broadcast, whether it be here on the Wichita stream or you're here for either team. Big thank you for tuning in. But with that, your team's gassed me today. I'm going to need some recovery time. And I'm sure you have a list of things that you got to go talk to him about. So we're going to close it off here for tonight. Big thank you again to everybody for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow for some Call of Duty Cold War doubleheader action.